Hi everyone, it's Jeff here from Avada. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at how to use notifications in Avada Forms. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to create form notifications, route emails to the right people, and use conditional logic for more advanced workflows. If you find this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and click the bell icon to stay up to date with all new Avada videos. Alright, let's jump in. When someone fills out and submits a form on your site, you usually want to be notified, right? For that, there are Avada form notifications. Notifications are found under the Form Options tab in the Notifications section. Just note that notifications are only available when the form is using the AJAX submission type in the Submissions tab. Okay, so now let's go and look at the Notifications tab. We'll start with a completed form. If you haven't created one yet, check out the Avada Forms documentation linked below for a full walkthrough. But for this video, let's assume we have made a form and now want to add some notifications. So on the Notification tab, there is an Add Notification button and an empty notification ready to go. With Avada Forms, you can add as many notifications as you want. Typically, you'd set up one notification for your webmaster or a specific department containing the submitted form data. You might also create an auto reply notification so the person submitting the form knows their message was received. See the linked video for a rundown on auto replies. Okay, let's start by editing the blank notification. The first field is the label field. This is purely so you can identify your various notifications. This might be general inquiry, auto reply, executive department, whatever. For my example, I'm going to imagine this notification is for a specific department if the email applies to them. So I will call this Executive Inquiry. For the email field, which is where the notification will be sent, I would use something like executive_team@avada.com. There are also CC and BCC fields as well, so you can send another copy to perhaps another department or a co-worker. Then comes email subject. Here you could add a name such as email from website form, or you could add a placeholder such as subject if your form has a subject field, or alternatively you can just leave it empty for it to use the actual form title. The next field is encode mail subject. As the description says, set this to yes if you want to encode email subjects. This helps to display special characters correctly in the subject field. Just note that a few hosting environments and email clients might have issue with this setting. Here I'm going to leave that on no. The next field is email from name. If left empty, WordPress will be used, but that's pretty boring. Instead, I will use placeholders again. I will add first_name and last_name, both in square brackets with a space between them. This will pull the first and last name from the submitted form, as long as those fields have exactly the same field name. Okay, next comes sender email. This is an interesting one. You might think you would use a placeholder for the sender's email here, but that's not such a good idea. This field controls the email address that the form shows as coming from, and there is good reason not to use placeholders here, and instead to use an email address from your own domain. If you think about it, anyone could send an email on behalf of anyone else using your contact form if it arrives from the user's inputted email address. This means it would be wide open to abuse. Also, most email servers now verify if the sender has the right to use that email address, and so when the checks fail, the server identifies the mail as spam based on a forged sender address. This hurts deliverability. The visitor's name can still appear in the email from name field by using a placeholder, as we have already seen, but their email address should not be placed in the sender email field. Best practice is to use something like contactform@sitename.com or WordPress@sitename.com, which is the default sender address of WordPress transactional emails, such as password recovery and automatic update notifications. It should end with your domain name and extension, but what you put before the @ symbol doesn't matter. Just don't use an existing address. Okay, the reply to email field comes next. With this field, you can add the email address of the person submitting the form, so you can easily reply to the email and it will be sent to the right place. Otherwise, the reply would be going to the address in the sender email field, which if left empty is WordPress@sitename.com. The reply to email field also has a specific format you must use for it to work. This is not Avada specific, rather it's a WordPress convention. The format is to use a text field in square brackets, followed by a space, and the email address field name in square brackets, surrounded by the less than and greater than symbols. So for this example, I will use the first name field and the email address field placeholders, and it will look like this. Following this comes an option to attach uploaded files. So if you have used the upload field element in your form and you set this to yes, this will add any uploaded attachments to the notification. Then there is an option for a custom attachment. This could be any number of things, such as sending a certain PDF or report along for anyone who fills in a specific form, or it might be an ebook or an MP3, whatever. Lots of possibilities here. After this is a word wrap for labels option, and you can set this to yes to enable word wrap for labels in the notification email. Okay, the penultimate option here is email message. So here you can enter any message in the notification, or you can leave it empty to get the default message with all form fields. You can add form fields to the message by inserting a field name wrapped with square brackets, and you can also add all fields manually with the all fields tag. So here I might add some text followed by the all fields tag. Okay, lastly on the notifications panel there is a conditional logic option. With this you can set conditional logic for this notification to take place. If I just click on add new logic, you can see that you can select any condition type, which in this case is any form field, and then set a relational operator and a condition value to determine if the notification should be sent. You can even set up multiple conditional logic sets for complex forms. For example here, I will select the interest field and set the relational operator to be equal to and the condition value to be executive inquiry. So in that way, if the user chooses executive inquiry from the select field here, then this notification would be sent to the executive team whose email address we put in at the top. In this way we could make 3 other notifications for the other departments and again use conditional logic to determine if that notification would be sent. So to sum up, notifications in Avada Forms are how you get the data submitted with the form. You can set up as many as you require, and you can use conditional logic to determine if they are used or not. And that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Avada tutorials and deep dives. And if you have any questions or need help, feel free to create a support ticket. Our team is always ready to help. As always, thank you for choosing Avada.